This is Jarrod Horak for the RunawayHorse.com, and in this Breeders' Cup preview video, special Halloween edition, we're going to look at the 2020 Friday Breeders' Cup races, the 5 races in this video, and I'm going to give out one horse worth betting in each of the 5 races. Not necessarily my top choice. It could be a value contender, a long shot to use underneath, but I'm going to consider one horse in each of the 5 races worth betting, and then I'm going to do a second video tonight, and in that video I'm going to take a closer look at the Breeders' Cup Juvenile. But in this video, we're going to start with the first Breeders' Cup race that they're going to run on Friday, November 6, 2020. The pre-entries came out earlier this week, and the 6th race from Keeneland is going to be the first Breeders' Cup race on Breeders' Cup Friday, and that will be the Breeders' Cup Turf Sprint, and they're going to be traveling 5.5 furlongs on the turf course. Now in the Turf Sprint, Golden Pal could end up being the favorite in here, but if you look at all the pre-entries in this race, it sure looks like there is a lot of front-running speed. So I'd like to look for a horse that likes to come from a bit off the pace, and hopefully that horse is Cowan for trainer Steve Asmussen, because I think this one has a good shot based on the pace scenario of this race to finish somewhere in the top 3. Now, he started out in a dirt sprint in his career debut, and he won that. And then they went to the Ellis Park Juvenile at 7 furlongs for his second career start on the main track. He finished 5th in that race. Then they put the blinkers on, and they switched him over to the turf course, and we started to see some improvement. He rallied to finish 3rd in the Juvenile Turf Sprint at Kentucky Downs in his 3rd career start. That was on soft turf. And then last time, I thought that was a nice breakthrough effort in the Indian Summer Stakes, a turf sprint at Keeneland. He rallied from off the pace, and he was 2nd. He was beaten a length, and he was 6 lengths clear of the show finisher. So he earned a quality pace rating in that race. He was gaining late. He should get pace to chase in this race. This one was a $185,000 Keeneland sales grad, and I think that Cowan from off the pace can finish somewhere in the top 3 in the Breeders' Cup Turf Sprint on Friday, November 6th. Let's do the 7th race now for Friday, November 6th, the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf, 1 mile on the turf course. This is going to be probably a wide open race. You're going to see some overseas runners take some money. Mutsa Beck for trainer Todd Pletcher. I picked him in the Bourbon Stakes last time. Broke slow. He rallied from last to first. That was on October 4th. That was a grade 2 event. He could be the best of the U.S. runners, but I'm actually going to pick the horse that I want to use in this race, Alda for trainer Brad Cox, and that one was 2nd in the Bourbon Stakes. And I thought he ran a decent race, and he's going to be a much better price most likely compared to Mutsa Beck and Alda. I think Alda is going to be a much better price in this race. Now, in his career debut at Ellis Park at 1 mile on turf, he rallied wide and he won that race as the favorite. His 2nd career start was in the Bourbon Stakes, and again, he rallied from off the pace. He finished a good 2nd there. He earned an improved speed rating last time out in that Bourbon Stakes. This one is a $200,000 Keeneland sales graduate. Into Mischief Is Desire. Dame Marie, she was 2nd in the 2014 Churchill Downs Distaff Turf Mile. That was a grade 2 event. She's got a classy pedigree, good connections, exiting a nice race over the Keeneland turf course. And Alda, I think, has a good shot to finish somewhere in the top 3 in that Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf. Keeneland race 8 for Friday, November 6th, the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies, 1 mile and a 16th on the main track. This race pretty stacked with some talent. You have horses Day Out of the Office. That one looked good in one-turn races and won the Frizette last time, stretching out around 2 turns and improved speed ratings. Princess Nora for Bob Baffert's probably going to be the favorite. Easily won all 3 of her races in Southern California, and she's gone from 5.5 furlongs to 7 furlongs to 1 mile and a 16th. And she's obviously got some talent. She hasn't really been tested. I think the horses that she's facing in this race, they're much better than the horses she was facing in California, and she's going to have to improve her speed ratings. But the horse that I want in this race that I'm going to play, and most likely is going to be my top choice as well, Simply Ravishing for trainer Ken McPeek. Now, Ken McPeek's had some bad luck in the Breeders' Cup. He hasn't been winning Breeders' Cup races, but he does have a bunch of horses that finished in the money, and I think maybe Simply Ravishing can get him over the hump and get a win here. Now, she's a perfect 3 for 3 in her career, and her speed figures jumped up in her last couple. She won the Alcibiades at Keeneland. As you see, this is a theme in the horses to watch in this video. My horses ran well over the Keeneland Turf course that I mentioned earlier. Simply Ravishing coming out of a nice victory in the Alda Stakes at Keeneland. When she went wire to wire. In her first 2 races, she tracked the pace from second. So I like that early pressing versatility. And there's not a ton of front running speed in this race. We have horses with good early pressing tactical speed. And I would not be surprised if they just went out there with Simply Ravishing, just like they did in the Alcibiades, and tried to go wire to wire. But if somebody else goes to the front, Simply Ravishing seems very comfortable just tracking the pace. So she's got good speed figures, and I think with that win over the track, maybe that'll give her the edge over some of the other horses that she's going to be facing on Friday. Keeneland Race 9 that we're going to do next, the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies Turf, 1 mile on the turf course. And another one where we're going to have some overseas runners that are going to take some money, like Miss Amulet. Aunt Pearl looked good in her last start, winning the Jessamine at Keeneland. That was a grade 2. And I think the betting could be fairly spread around in here. But one of the horses that I definitely want to use somewhere in the top 3 is Alda for trainer Graham Motion. Now, she's run 4 times in her career with 2 wins, a 2nd, and a 3rd place finish. And I like the fact that her late pace ratings are rising, and I think that bodes well for her chances at this distance, and they stretched her out last time. Now, she's won the Catch a Glimpse Stakes at Woodbine. That was at 6.5 furlongs on the turf course on August 23rd. Last time they stretched her out to 1 mile in the Grade 1 Natalma at Woodbine. And she enjoyed the added distance that day, earning a quality late pace rating, finishing a good 2nd. That race really didn't set up for it. It was a slow early, fast late race. And hopefully in this race where you're going to have a pretty full field, international field here, at least we'll get an honest pace, and maybe Alda from off the pace can rally and at least finish somewhere in the top 3 for trainer Graham Motion. Finally, Keeneland Race 10. This one's going to be the Breeders' Cup Juvenile, and I'm going to do a more in-depth look at the Juvenile in my next video. But in this one, Jackie's Warrior obviously is going to be the one to beat. She's the fastest horse, or he's the fastest horse on paper. And Reinvestment Risk has run 2nd to that one in back-to-back races, clearly 2nd best for trainer Chad Brown. But I'm going to go for the horse that I played in the Breeders' Futurity. And if you watched my Breeders' Futurity video, you knew that I liked Essential Quality for trainer Brad Cox. Now this one, that was a nice effort from off the pace in the career debut. That was a sprint race. Didn't have the best trip that day, but was able to rally off the pace and win nicely. Now, it's not easy to rally off the pace in these maiden sprint races for 2-year-olds. A lot of times speed rules in those races, but I like that professionalism, overcoming a little bit to win that race, and that's exactly why I picked him in the Breeders' Futurity last time. And I like the fact that in his debut he closed ground, stretched out in distance, 2nd time out in that Grade 1 Breeders' Futurity at Keeneland at the same Breeders' Cup Juvenile distance of 1 mile and a 16th. And Essential Quality just got up on the pace that day, tracked the pace from 2nd, and pulled clear and won nicely and earned an improved speed rating. And not a speed rating near Jackie's Warrior's recent ratings, but Essential Quality, only 2 career starts, 2 for 2, won both easily, has a victory at Keeneland at the 1 mile and a 16th distance, and it was a Grade 1 as well. So Essential Quality is going to be my pick to finish somewhere in the top 3, and actually this one is going to be a good chance to win the race in that Breeders' Cup Juvenile. So that will wrap up my look at the 5 Friday Breeders' Cup races for Breeders' Cup Friday, November 6th. Now next week I'll look at the Breeders' Cup Saturday on November 7th races. I'll give out a horse worth betting in each of those races. And I've done these kind of videos. I did these last year. Now last year United was one that I said was worth betting in the Breeders' Cup Turf, and he was 51 to 1 and he missed by a head, so that was a nice effort. So hopefully I can do something similar to that this year in some of these Breeders' Cup races. Not that any of the horses that I'm going to give out on Breeders' Cup Friday are going to be 51 to 1, but let's hope that some of them can at least run well and finish somewhere in the top 3, and maybe we'll get some trifectas. So if you like this video, give me a thumbs up, subscribe to my YouTube channel, make some comments in the comment section. Who do you like in some of these Breeders' Cup Friday races? And that will wrap up a look at Breeders' Cup Friday. I'm going to be back and I'm going to look at an in-depth look at the Breeders' Cup Juvenile for my next video this week. And stay tuned to my Breeders' Cup videos next week, as I mentioned. Happy Halloween, everybody. Good luck at the races. And I'll see you back here for the Breeders' Cup Juvenile in a few minutes.